Okay, to establish if two figures are congruent, it is not necessary for us to know all three sides and all three angles of the two triangles we're looking at, for example. There are certain minimum conditions that will guarantee that everything else is equal. So let's look at these summary of congruence tests. If we know all three sides, so we know the length of all three sides, then the length of the size of all three angles are going to be the same. We don't have to prove that. If we know all three sides are the same length, then yes, those triangles are going to be congruent. If we know the lengths of two sides, so in this example we know that this side and this side have the same length, that this side and this side have the same length, and that they have the same size angle in between. So two corresponding sides are equal in length and the angle in the middle of them is equal in size. Then by side angle side test, we know that those two triangles are going to be congruent. If we know that two angles are equal in size, so this angle and this angle are equal, also this angle here and this angle here are equal. So we know two angles are equal in size and that there is one pair of corresponding sides, then we know that those triangles are definitely going to be congruent, and we call that the angle side angle test. The last one, and if the triangle's right angled, if the hypotenuse and one of the other sides are equal, then by the right angled hypotenuse side rule test, we know that the triangles are going to be congruent. So let's look at this by way of a worked example. Which of these triangles are congruent and how do you know? Well, let's look at what we've got. We don't know the length of all three sides, so it's not going to be that test. It's not a right angled triangle. We only know the value of one angle, so it's not going to be the one that involves two angles. Do we know that two corresponding sides are equal and the angle in between that is equal? Well, let's look. We've got a side of 2, we've got a side of 2, we've got a side of 5, and we've got a side of 5. That's actually the case in each of them. But let's look at the angle in between those. 60, 40, 60. So which have got two corresponding sides are equal in length? Well, they all do. And the included angle is equal in size. That would be those two. So in other words, by using the SAS congruency test, we can say that triangle ABC, our symbol for congruency, is congruent to triangle MLK. And how did we know? By the side angle side rule. Let's look how I've written these triangles. I need to write them in the correct order. In other words, we have written AB first. The length of AB is 2, so we need to make sure that we write ML first, because the length of ML is 2. BC, if you like, is written next, and we know that BC is 5, so we then need to write this as LK, because LK is the side that is 5. So important that we write it in the right order. That's remember, our symbol for congruency. And the question said give a reason for your answer. You can just write SAS. The reason is the test side angle side.